chapter 338. You can find us on Facebook within Birok. You can find us on Twitter, Birok 1930. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or any other application you listen to podcast. Just subscribe. You will be the first to receive notification about any chapter that published. We have Instagram, we have YouTube. Just find us there. Offer, you want to take it from here?
Yes, well, thank you again for this lovely introduction. So we have a special show with us tonight or today, whenever you are listening to this, ahead of the game that is going to be held in Sami Ofer tomorrow, or Aviran Stadium, as I like to call it. Nico, welcome aboard to Barking Green Podcast. How are you?
I'm very good, and yourself?
I'm very good. So Nico, I will let him introduce himself. He's been, tell us about how you became a fan of Paris Saint-Germain. And,
yes, I have to be honest with you. I have no particular glory in it. I was born in Paris. I saw my first game when I was 4 or 5 years old. My dad to the stadium, and it's such a beautiful stadium that the minute you set foot inside, you immediately get drawn to its atmosphere, to the singing, to the crowd, and then I saw them play, and that was it for me. I'm 41-year-old today, and since then I had only one team and one team only.
That's great. I think we all share this sentiment, and it's kind of funny. And usually when we have this kind of episodes, we usually do it in the qualifications stage. And the teams that we are hosting are teams that the Israeli, Maccabi Haifa fan doesn't know really good. Teams from Belgrade, maybe Cyprus, even Benfica last time. That they're not very much familiar. But Paris Saint-Germain is maybe one of the top 5 biggest teams in the world, maybe the top 3, maybe even the biggest one, okay? Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, just to name the 3 that everybody knows. So we thought, instead of you telling us about the key players, which I think everybody that is listening now knows, I wanted to touch a little bit more about what is it like to be a Paris Saint-Germain fan, especially from Paris. What is the fan culture there? What is it like to, have a regular team that is one of many other teams in the country, like Lyon, like Lens, like all the other teams that won championship or Monaco, and then becoming this, I don't know even what to call it, like a monster of football, like it has become. So can you tell us a little bit about your experiences as a Paris fan, games that you remember, maybe the game with us or with other Israeli teams back a few years back, and how is it like to be a fan of Paris? Like, do you sit in the Boulogne or the other one? I don't remember. And isn't it good fans? I mean, I remember there was a time, and you tell me, and I'll let you speak more. I spoke enough. That the two sets of fans from the two curves, were fighting a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that, if you can. About some stories like that.
So listen, being a Paris fan had its ups and downs. In the 90s, so when I was, let's say, a child and young teenager, I'm sure you remember it was the team with Ginola, with Wea, with Valdo. There were some incredible European campaigns against Real Madrid, the goals at the last minute. But there were also some painful memory, like losing to Milan in a very, in the type of game where you feel, there was nothing we could do. They were just much better. So it was always bittersweet, because in some games we were really good, and in some you could see, the difference of level, because at the end of the day, no matter how good your team is, there is a certain level where you start hitting the very big teams, the Barcelonas at the time, the Milan at the time, and they're just better than you. In terms of atmosphere, it's true that the two main curves, there is one called Auteuil and one called Boulogne. The reason for that is just because the stadium sits at the border between Paris, which is the Porte d'Auteuil, which is on that side, and then there is Boulogne-Billancourt, which is the close suburb. And those were, let's say, stronger fans, more towards the right wing, not particularly friends of our religion, and there were quite a lot of fights. The 90s, not only in France, also in Italy, in Germany, there were strong footholds for extremists of many different wings, and to that we have to give Paris, I think, quite a lot of reward, because once the, let's say, Canal Plus era, so the Wea, the Ginola period stopped, and they sold it to a private equity fund, the Colony Capital. Their goal was basically, you know what, we're going to handle this club almost as a company, like a business company. We're going to try to make the stadium safer, so we're going to have more families coming in, and if more families come in and the atmosphere becomes better, then potentially there are going to be like parties that are going to be interested to buy it. So it was a very business approach, not at all like a football, and that's why, you know, those years, the Colony Capital years, were terrible in terms of football results. We went from I think in the early 2000s being almost safe from going down in League 2, which never happened in the history of the club. But those were very dark days, you know, when I remember, I even think at the time I was living in London, and I don't think there were some games that I didn't even know the result. And to be honest, never it happened in my life that I didn't know what my team was doing. It was just, you know, it was poor football. There was no tactics, no player. There was nothing to see. And it was a big time of suffering, but it was a time of cleaning up everything that needed to be cleaned up. And after the club was cleaned up, you know, the big advantage of Paris is that not only you have the football club, which is the only club in the city, because the other ones are in much lower categories, but you have the city of Paris. So, you know, it's very easy to find someone that is interested in buying this. So a lot of people started, you know, gravitating around. You had President Sarkozy, and he managed to attract the type of investors and people that were really looking to buy the club. So once it was sold to the Qatari, then it was, you know, it placed the club really on the map of the big superpowers, because once you start having the means and you can buy pretty much any player that you want, it becomes another ball game. And the country, the league became a little bit too small for the club. It's not true what Ibrahimovic said at one point, that basically the story of Paris started with Qatar, because it's really not true. I remember actually, you know, savoring much more the victories that were done by former teams, because it was just, you know, harder, and there is more joy in achieving something when it's difficult than when you just win because, you know, you're the best by far. But it's true that it actually plays the club on a completely different level. That's something that you cannot really hide.
And how does this make, you know, a regular fan who use the ups and downs? Of course, Paris is a big team from a big city, but suddenly, you know, seeing this, how does it make you feel, you know, as a fan? Like, do you feel you still have the team, or do you feel a little bit that someone took over it, or you still have the same passion?
I have the same passion. My kids are born here in Israel, but, you know, since they're babies, they see me watch every single game. They see me cheer, and, you know, I just came back from Paris today. I just landed. I got them the new jerseys, so they will proudly wear them tomorrow at the stadium. They're also passionate. At the end, it doesn't matter who owns the club. The club, it's, you know, every fan has a special story with his own club. It's something that you have in your heart. Same thing for you guys. You know, if I would tell you, you know what, tomorrow support Hapoel Tel Aviv, you would prefer to shoot yourself in the head and never hear about something like this again. It's the same thing, no matter who owns it. And, you know, especially as a Jew, it's a very big, not like a puzzling situation, because on the one hand, it's Qatar, the owner, but on the other hand, me, every weekend when I tune in and I watch the game, what I'm interested in is seeing beautiful football. And to be honest with you, what I'm seeing every single weekend, there is not one person on this planet that can say that it's not beautiful. There are some plays between, even like a game like Brest last weekend, which was a bad game. They didn't play well. They didn't have the motivation. Still, the goal is a pass of Messi above the defense to Neymar. There is a control from the left, shoot from the right. What can you say? It's just beautiful. It's just, at this point, it's just art. So this is how I see it. You know, I still love it, and it's my club, but I look at it as a football fan, because it's just, I'm lucky that these people are playing for my club and I get such beautiful football.
That's really great. And I think all of us, everybody listening, and we feel the same way. You know, Maccabi has been owned by Yankele Shachar for 30 years now. 30 years, I think. And even before that, like we have people here, and my father, for example, has been a fan since.
I'm not sure that we will be invited to such league.
Maybe after, and for him, it doesn't matter who is the owner or how the team is, and But what's interesting to me,
there are more chances that Maccabi will win tomorrow than Maccabi will be at the Super League with PSG and Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Manchester City.
The stadium of Red Star out in the suburbs, which is not really Paris. People think Saint-Denis is Paris, but I learned by going to the suburbs that Paris is Paris and suburbs are suburbs. Do you have any, apart from the big rivalry with Marseille or with Monaco, do you have any local rivalries like we have with the חיפה, for example, or is something that is completely, null, only the rivalry against Marseille? Or even more to that, Paris has been winning championships usually very easily. It's more of an event if they lose it than they win it. So how does that, make you feel about the French league? As you said, it became a little bit smaller. And now, the league for Paris Saint-Germain is the Champions League. That's, I think, maybe the most interesting game. So how does that, maybe not only for you, but other fans that you might know of Paris Saint-Germain, does it make the French league become more boring for them? Or if they don't win it, it's a big crisis? Or how is that? We have a team like this in Israel, Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball. It's pretty much the same, the big team buying all the players, the best, even champions of Europe. So wondering how does that feel? Because for us, for example, we love being in the Champions League, but I think nothing will beat a championship in the league. Like for us, it's the best.
True. So listen, as you said, there is no local rivalry. But the country's rivalry, like inside the country, is very strong. The reason for that is very historical. It was always the capital. Paris was the capital, and then you had the province. And basically, the province at the time you had the king, and you had like basically all the, let's say, the rich people in the city, and you had in the countryside and all these cities, Marseille, Lyon, Monaco came a little bit after, but Bordeaux. There was this always we have to beat Paris. We have to beat Paris. It's the power versus like the poor people. So there are a lot of almost every game against the main teams are high risk game because they play the best football that they can, because it's also Paris is always on television, whereas this team don't get as much screen time, so everybody wants to be at their best when they play against Paris. So that makes the league interesting. It's true that nowadays I would, and me and a lot of Paris fans would see very well when there is more investments and more investors coming, to the other teams, because the stronger the league becomes, the better it will be for us. For the simple reason that you cannot become great in the Champions League just by switching. You need to be constantly in this state of being challenged, being pushed, being pressurized. Because if not, if you're used to every weekend play very simple, easy football and there is no competition, when you get to the big games, you're not prepared. So I think it's getting there, like a lot of players that come, even Messi said, like he didn't expect the league to be so strong, so tactical. The Spanish league, for example, is much, players have much more space to do their dribbles and they have time to make the pass, whereas in France, immediately there is contact, somebody comes, tackles. It's a strong league. Obviously, it still needs some good players to come. But I think Marseille started doing it. Monaco has very good youth program. Like they bring out very good, strong players. The only problem is that they sell them very fast in order to make money. But think about Monaco. They had Bernardo Silva. They had Mbappe. They had James Rodriguez. The wealth of players that they had over there. Think about Lyon for 7 years, and they were like constantly semi-finals of the Champions League. So we just need everybody to be at the same level at the same time, and then you will have a strong league. I don't think we will reach the level of the Premier League, because obviously the level of the Premier League is really something else, and you can see it when you look at the games, no matter if it's City, Arsenal, Manchester United playing, even when they play against Bournemouth, like those guys, they leave their heart on the field, and there is no easy game over there. But I think if you compare the French league to the German league, where it's basically Bayern and Dortmund, and after that there is nothing, even the Spanish league, their strength is that they have Barcelona and Madrid and maybe Atletico. But the rest, you watch, I don't know, like Santander versus Celta Vigo. If you manage to watch 20 minutes of that game without falling asleep, so yeah, I think the French league will push us at some point, but it needs some work. At the end of the day, the important is money. You need to be able to attract investors, and that's what the Premier League has been amazing.
Yeah, you're right. Also, it's a global appeal. I think maybe, Paris being this big team, maybe can help attract more fans to the league and create that money.
Even a lot of people criticize the Messi signing, but even I walked here when you walk in the street, how many children you see now with the jerseys of Paris? Much more than before. Before here in Israel, when I walked 5 years ago, it was Barcelona, Real, and of course the local teams. You would never see a child with the jersey of Paris. Now you see a lot.
You're right. I have a friend of mine, his little kid is 9 years old, just falling into football. He's a Maccabi Tel Aviv fan, lo alenu. And he's a big fan of Paris Saint-Germain. He actually, just a small story, they have, for the kids at school, they have one day that they are allowed not to go to school, to take like a personal day. I don't know that kids can do this these days. And he asked for the day to be on Thursday so he can stay up late and watch the game tomorrow, because he's not allowed to stay up this late. Perla, over to you.
Listen, I don't know if it's just the Super League. I think it was too much driven from like pure economical reason from a few clubs, especially the ones that they feel that they're losing ground and they're losing importance, and it's almost like the old dinosaur that don't want to be replaced. My dream at one point, something that I was talking to my friend, is I would have loved Paris to take the Eurostar every weekend and to go play in the Premier League. Obviously, it's never going to happen, but it's true that, yes, I would much rather have some amazing games every week than sometimes go and play against teams that are much weaker. But you have to play with the cards that you've been dealt, and I don't know if the Super League or something similar will ever happen. I think it's better if we try to strengthen our league and push certain clubs to do better. But yeah, if there was a format where you could play, that it would be like almost like a league the whole year. But I don't know how it would be doable, with all like the international games. But yes, as a fan, I would much rather play 1 weekend Bayern, 1 weekend City, than come to Israel to play against you guys and then come back and travel all around the world. It would be incredible as a fan. If we have something to say, we can always push. We can ask the right people. A fan can always hope. If we don't have hope, we have nothing. That's the
okay. There's one thing you mentioned before, which is interesting. I think our listeners, you mentioned that you're a Jew in Paris, and right now the team is owned by Qataris. And I was wondering, because I think this is the first time we have a Jewish guest that is a fan of the other team outside of Israel, and you're a true fan. So how is it like does it matter even that you are a Jewish fan of Paris Saint-Germain? Are there a lot of Jewish fans of Paris Saint-Germain? Because there are a lot of Jewish people in Paris, as far as I know. Is it like a big group of Jewish fans sit together, or you meet about it, in the temple or the Knesset or whatever? Does it have a special culture for Jews that are fans, or is it different? Anything in particular you want to share about that?
In Bet Knesset, there is like a Paris section, where you can go and you can chat about the results of the week. But now, listen, there is, as you said, there is a very big community in Paris. a lot of people take their children to see the game. We have here in Israel the Tel Aviv fan club, the Jerusalem fan club, which are quite big fan clubs. We do like a lot. They came for the Trophée des Champions a few weeks ago against Nantes. We took the children, they saw the players, they got the ball signed and the T-shirt signed. So it was we make them see that we're very happy to see them, and we can't wait to have them. And there is a very strong Jewish base. Because once again, when you're a fan, there is the club, and the club becomes your almost your religion. Every fan in the world will tell you that there is nothing more important than your club, and you guys know that. It's really something that I like about football, is that it's true that we don't have the same jersey, but we have the same passion. So whatever you feel, sometimes I feel it, and whatever you must have felt as a child, I must have felt. I remember, as children now, the kids nowadays, they don't know that because they see everything either on replay or on streaming or on this. But me, I used to watch games listening to the radio. So, it was a completely different emotion when you're hearing, the reporter that is saying, yeah, there is a goal in this stadium. And then you're hoping at that time that it's your team that is scoring and not the other one. And every fan can identify to that. So yeah, it's very, very big emotion.
It's great. They actually, but you said before there's no ultras, issues because of the ultras
organization. The ultras organization talked about restriction.
We don't have much
about
say about it.
Demands, and
ideally,
we couldn't find anywhere
really
nothing about
I would love at
what was
point,
told
of Paris
to the
to
French
become,
fans that wanted to come,
a shareholder of the club. The club
caused them to boycott the
nowadays
match.
Technology,
if
you can actually do it. If you look at the fan base of Paris around the world, with everybody putting 100 euros, you can buy back the club very, very easily. Especially if you think that the value of Chelsea is like 3 billion, it's doable. But it's still a dream until the current owners are gonna sell it. But yeah, I still believe that the club belongs to the fans, because they are the ones that suffer when it's not the right game. They are the ones that buy the jerseys. They are the ones that travel. I took my kids to see the Madrid game, and we went to Spain. We changed airplanes. We took the car. We drove, and it was an amazing game for 60 minutes. Everybody was singing. Everybody was like dancing, and then everything happened, and people started crying. And then they kept us in the stadium till like 11:30 with children not having it, and it was a nightmare. But still, this is the cross that we have to bear, because we are the ones that are making the club.
So thank you first of all for everything, and now we want to get into tomorrow's game. And it's really interesting to us to kind of, I guess you read, French media about the team. How is the French media, is treating this game? Is treating Maccabi? What do they say about us? We want to know.
Listen, they are quite enthusiastic about Maccabi Haifa, especially, you guys beat Olympiacos, then Limassol, then Belgrade, which, when you think about it, historically, those are very strong teams. They're teams that are famous, they are well known on the in the European spectrum. So it came, as Maccabi came as something fresh, something with motivation, with flair, with passion, and people like this a lot in France. And you also have like two French players. I think one is called Dylan Batoubinsika and Pierre Cornu. And those guys, they said I think there was an article in L'Equipe today that the guy said, yeah, when we came from the stadium to the airport, we were treated like heroes. The other guy said, he played in Paris with the young, so he was in the generation with Rabiot, Coman, Dembélé, and he says, listen, here the level is very strong. People love football. They're encouraging a lot of players to come. So you guys have a very good press at the moment, at least. It's treated like a Champions League game. It's not treated as that you guys are here by mistake or something like that. You guys are part of the group. You have every chance, like the other three teams, and they're treating you very seriously, which is a good thing.
Someone talk about revenge from the 90s matchup?
No, because I remember that game actually. I remember when I think it was Okocha that equalized, and I thought, yeah, you know what? Worst case, it's 2-2. I'm very happy. Everybody's happy. I was happy also for Maccabi because, you know, the Jewish side of me was like, it's good, there is a draw. And then when you guys scored, I was like, I was not that happy. I don't think it's revenge. Listen, for some it will be revenge because it's the old elephants like me that still remember these kind of games. But I think for the young generation, they're gonna just see it as another game where the 3 points are important, and you know. But I don't think there is this feeling of now the revenge are against the real enemies. You know, like the next time the Barcelonas, the Madrid, and the Bayern.
And someone talk about your lousy matchup against the Israeli team, or you know now it's a different. You are a different team, so it's not the same.
Listen, there is a very bad track record, not only for teams like Paris, but also for national teams. You know, like Israel did quite when they came to Paris in I think it was 1993, or at that time, and there was like some bad games, and so yeah, I hope that, you know, there is going to be some rebalancing of the wins and. In this, but what I'm really hoping, you know, at the end of the day is, once again, I'm taking my 2 boys to the stadium tomorrow. I just hope that it will be like a nice game with no violence, and you know that at the end of the day, the fans from both teams will be united to see a nice game. You know, that's what I, as a father, that's what I fear the most when I take my kids to the stadiums is. Not for them to see the bad side of the fans.
If you will sit in the Paris area, I don't think you need to worry about something like this. But I want to ask you about this. Why does don't the Paris fans came to Israel? We understand that the ultras, they don't want to come because of the security demands. But what about the other fans? As Maccabi, we are, you know, Haifa. It's a city of something like 400,000 people, not like Paris, 10 million people, the metropolitan. And we are travel to every game at least 1,000, 2,000. And Paris will bring tomorrow only, I don't know, a couple of 100.
You know, there is 700 from Auteuil. From the COP, so no matter if they say that they would not come, it's just that, you know, it's the direction of this organization that makes this kind of speeches, but there's still going to be like 700. I think it's going to be 1,500 total, including the people from our fan club and the people that live here. Listen, the truth is that as the stadium became more and more family friendly and the fan base became more and more families, some people, you know, that don't know the situation here very well, they're just scared for security reasons. And unfortunately, in Europe, you know, my wife is Italian, so I have also the side from when we travel to Milan or to Spain. People, they still see Israel as a country at war. And, you know, even for insurance contract, I was talking to somebody from the management of Paris after the Trophée des Champions, because, you know, I got very upset when they arrived on Friday night. Once again, we took the children in front of the Hilton to see the players arrive. And, you know, they just went down the bus straight into the hotel. I was like, you know what? We waited 3 hours for you guys to come. You cannot even, you know, like look back and do a little sign. Not to me. I don't care. To the children. And then I started talking to the people that are part of the management, and they said, listen, the security organization around, you have the security of the club. You have the security that they hire locally. You have the security of the hotel. Everything makes the climate extremely... much more serious than it really is, because as you said, you know, Haifa, it's a beautiful city. There are not a lot of people. They could come, they could land. And I saw today, I traveled, there were a few fans that were coming. There is nothing, it's very easy to come here. But the truth is that Israel is portrayed abroad as a dangerous place. And sadly, it's very hard to change this. And, you know, it's not... Football is a great way to convey certain messages, especially certain messages of peace and of friendship. But, you know, it's still people were. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of days ago in Paris. Big fan of Paris, non-Jewish, and he was telling me, listen, I want to take the kids, but we're scared. We're scared about what could happen. You don't want to be in the wrong place in the wrong time, and that it's very, yeah. Now
the ultras organization talked about restrictions and about demands, and we couldn't find anywhere nothing about it.
I really don't know, because if you couldn't find out, I didn't even try to find out. The only thing I probably know is that if you do, like if you go to see a game in Milan and if you go to see a game here, I'm sure that the security restrictions, they are bigger here, and it's normal because there are some places that you're not advised to go. If people want to stop in Jerusalem and go here, go there. I don't know what could have been said. The only thing that I know is that also everything becomes political very, very fast and very easily. So it might have been not even something purely security, but say, if you come, you cannot have this flag, you cannot have that flag. And so at the end of the day, the people that will come, they are the people that we want. The people that decided not to come, it's better that they don't come. It would have created problem, and we really don't want problem. We want, Israel, the fact that they stepped up during COVID to organize this Trophée des Champions, and it's the second time in a row that they have it. I think it's a very good thing for the country because it gets a lot of visibility. The events were organized extremely well. So I think everything that is done to make us, when I say us, is the country, look good, is very nice, and we don't need the negative noise. We need only the good.
Thank you for that. One of the things that we're doing in the podcast is, there are a lot of Maccabi fans that have already booked flights to go to the game in Paris next month. It's next month, right? I'm not mistaken. I think end of October.
Yes.
So what should they expect when they arrive there? I've been to the stadium next to the Parc de France. I went to the rugby. I saw Stade Français.
Yes.
I saw Stade Français. It's very nice. But what should they expect? Is it safe to go now? Like, because when Hapoel Tel Aviv played there was a very unhappy incident, and I think a fan got stabbed. And I never been to a Paris Saint-Germain game in Paris. And I don't know, can you tell us what to expect? The fans that are going to go, how hard it's going to be to get tickets? Just a little bit about the stadium experience in the Parc de France.
So, how hard it's going to be to get tickets? That I'm not sure, to be honest, because I always use the fan club to get tickets to go to the stadium. But I think you should have still a section just for you guys, so that should be fairly straightforward. In terms of security, I think there is nothing to fear because the stadium is extremely, extremely well protected. There is a lot of police. The one of the curves, the Boulogne curve, that was the strongest one, it has been completely cleaned up. So I don't think there is any safety issues. And I think, as you guys can walk around in the city with your jerseys very proudly and try to visit, go to the Eiffel Tower, go around, go to the Champs-Élysées. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. So try to take in as much tourism as you can. But I think you're going to have a fantastic time. And because it's a beautiful stadium, beautiful atmosphere, and you can see your team play and defend its color in a nice environment.
Let's hope so.
And you'll have a big part of the stadium that are your co-religioners, so they will always have a little soft spot for you guys. So you can then definitely go for a shawarma or falafel after the game, and and debrief the game and the actions and the goals.
Too bad we have a World Cup tournament this winter, because if this was a regular schedule, maybe the game in Paris could be in Hanukkah, and then you can light a candle in the stadium.
True. That's very true. Yeah, because of the World Cup, everything is changed. But in a way, we have a Champions League game every week, so it's something that is quite nice not to have to wait like for 2-3 weeks. I like it, but yeah, it would have been nice if
So Nico, the last thing we're going to do today, if everybody is finished with their questions, you're going tomorrow to the game, as you mentioned, with your kids. Can you sing us a Paris Saint-Germain song so we can, we like to hear fans that we host. Give us like the best Paris Saint-Germain song that you like to sing when you go and, chant for the team.
All right. Which one sing? There are many. Okay, let's sing it. Ensemble, nous sommes invincibles, unis par la même passion. De notre virage terrible, s'élève en chœur la chanson. En rouge et bleu, allez. En rouge et bleu, allez. This is one of the songs. It means that all together we sing for our club. But there will be many more.
Rouge et bleu, it's red and blue?
Exactly.
Yeah. You see, you know French, Matan. You done it in French.
I only know Je m'appelle Claude from France. If you know the chapter.
My wife just sent me a WhatsApp like, "Are you singing at 10 o'clock at night, waking up the kids?"
So Nico, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks to you guys. Very nice.
We wish you good luck every time and everywhere except for tomorrow and the next game with us. But have fun tomorrow. And if you arrive before, check us. We have a bar next to the stadium. So you're welcome to come have a beer with us if you see us. We have the WhatsApp.
With great pleasure. And I really hope that you guys are going to be in second position with us in the group so you can make it to the next round. And that would be really nice.
And we will hope you don't be. We will hope you don't be so too excited to see Sherry and Pierrot and Khaziza play tomorrow.
So, Matan, to you to close it.
So, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. תודה רבה שהזנתם. תודה לעמית, תודה לעופר, תודה לניקו. אנחנו כמובן יהיה לנו פרק בלי נדר ביום חמישי. סיכום של המשחק נגד פריז והכנה כמובן להפועל ירושלים. אז תמשיכו להאזין. תודה רבה ונתראה באצטדיון. ביי ביי. פרק ביום חמישי, סיכום של המשחק נגד פריז והכנה כמובן להפועל ירושלים. אז תמשיכו להאזין. תודה רבה ונתראה באצטדיון. ביי ביי.